Should LA Knight win the Money in the Bank briefcase? That's the question I have for you today, and that's the question I will be answering with the best analysis, the best inside info, which, yeah, I'm talking my ass here.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
I'm just gonna give my opinion. That's all you're gonna get from me. But my opinion is gonna be better than yours, and you know it. Let's start. Should LA Knight win the Money in the Bank briefcase? And there's a simple answer, and it's yeah. LA Knight should win the Money in the Bank. He's the most over wrestler in WWE right now, bar Cody Rhodes, and it's simple. We need new names in the main event scene. He might not be in it for the long run. We know he's already in his 40s. We know he's climbing the ladder towards old age. So I guess that is one negative. But if we don't look at that, if we look away for a moment, there's nothing wrong with him. He is probably the best suited to be a world champion in WWE. He can talk his ass off. He can wrestle pretty decent. And his biggest and best factor or piece of credit I have for him is he came out of a Bray Wyatt or Fiend or Uncle Howdy or whatever you call it feud and looked better. Nobody else has done that. Randy Orton, nope. Seth Rollins, nope. Braun Strowman, nope. Who else can we think of? Alexa Bliss, nope. I think that's an A+ for me. The fact that he came out of that feud and looked good. If we think back to the match a couple weeks ago, we had LA Knight versus Montez Ford as a qualifying match for the Money in the Bank. Obviously, we know LA Knight won. But there's something I want to point out in that match. The crowd was booing Montez Ford, which I know you know, and I know the IWC has gone on about it. But to me, that's a big factor. Because Montez Ford was the man to win the Money in the Bank before LA Knight even stepped into a WWE ring or into a main roster ring. Montez Ford was everybody's pick until a couple of months ago. For them to switch 360 like that really shows what LA Knight brings to the table. The charisma he brings to the table, the personality. And that's not to say Montez Ford doesn't have any of that. But I think it's just something fresh and something new that just outweighs the other. Because I think they're pretty even, but one just outweighs the other right now, seeing as it's new and it's exciting. And Street Profits have been in kind of a limbo for a while, which I think is not to Montez Ford's benefit right now. The longer and longer this limbo goes on, the more I want him to turn heel. But let's not turn this into a Montez Ford video. Let's stick with LA Knight. Yeah. LA Knight, man. Him as a world champion. Think of the matches we could see LA Knight in. LA Knight, okay, let's say he goes for Seth's title at the end of the day, because LA Knight, realistically, if he wins Money in the Bank, should not be pinning Roman Reigns for the title. That's just not how it's going to work. So let's say he pins Seth Rollins if he's still champion. He'll have a feud with Seth Rollins. He can have a feud with Cody, which will be superb. He could have a feud with the likes of, if he turns face, Finn Balor, which will be fantastic. Obviously, the likes of Damian Priest, who seems to be getting a real push, but obviously, you know, connected with Finn Balor. There's so many names, I can't really think them off the top of my head, that I really want to see him in. And not just the matches, but the promo battles. Cody and LA Knight in a promo battle would be insanely good. And I think Cody would come out looking bad in that. I'm not going to lie, because LA Knight is just too good. LA Knight, you know what is a promo battle I really want to see, and my life will not be complete without seeing it. LA Knight against the Master of Roasts, the person who will bury absolutely anybody on the WWE roster, no matter where you are, Roman Reigns. We're talking about John Cena. John Cena versus LA Knight promo battle. I don't really care for the match because I think Cena's over the hill. Sorry, Cena, I love you, but it's kind of getting there. We saw that with the Theory match. But anyway, that promo battle would be absolutely insane. I think that's one for the ages, which we'll probably never see, and I'll probably go to my grave wishing that happened. But LA Knight pinning a world champion and being a world champion in WWE. Let's think back. This man was a former, was it Global Force or Impact? Which, that was a confusing time in Impact's history. He was the world champion there, and the promos, the segments. I mean, you think about the dummy, you think back to that. You think back to the promos, which we've seen in WWE. There's that specific NWA promo. I can't really quote it right now because I can't remember exactly. But it's just brilliant. The guy is too good. The guy is too good on the mic. He gets you captivated. He gets you interested. He's got his catchphrases which people actually think or find interesting or find funny or find cool. Whatever the case is, he's not just trying to force a catchphrase which doesn't work. And we saw his work in NXT. Granted, it was a little bit different. He was a face and a heel. Yeah, it was a bit... He didn't show his best work, but he showed a little bit about him. I've got another question though. If we don't see LA Knight as a world champion, because obviously world champion in WWE is a big deal. I mean, we've seen Seth Rollins now is the new world champion, and we got Roman Reigns. Two of the top guys of the last 10 years in WWE. Being a world champion takes a lot. So do we see him do what Theory tried to do last year and go for a mid-card title? Like, could we see LA Knight take on Theory himself, pin him, and hold the US Championship? Would that be a better place for LA Knight at this point? I don't know though, because I think that is a waste of the Money in the Bank briefcase. And I didn't like it last year, so I don't think I'm going to like it with LA Knight. But the bigger question that overarches that initial question about should he go for the US title is, do WWE see him as a world champion? Is that a possibility? Or are they going to be like, we got to give him the briefcase. We got to give him the briefcase like they did with Austin Theory. And then he has the briefcase and they're like, oh damn, what do we do with this guy? We don't want to bury him and make him lose it, which they did in the end. Even worse, but anyway. We don't want to give him a world title just yet. He's not ready for it, or we don't think he's world title caliber yet. So let's give him a mid-card title, and then you still make him fail at that, which was absolutely ridiculous. So it's difficult. The only other person I can see winning that match is Drew McIntyre if he comes back. I don't know if there's going to be if the slots are going to be filled on Monday Night Raw, because I'm recording this before Raw. I don't think they will be filled. But I do think Drew McIntyre in London, in his home country, I know he's from Scotland, but it's still Great Britain. If that were the case, that would be an okay option. I guess he does need some revitalizing, and as long as it's a heel Drew only. Now another question for the LA Knight situation. Do they turn him face? Because Montez Ford's got booze. Montez Ford got booed in the match. LA Knight got cheered. That's a big deal, like I mentioned. So, do we just turn him heel and run with it? At this point, I honestly think that that's what they should do. They gotta turn him heel, turn him face. They gotta turn him face at this point. He's white hot. People are chanting his chants. He's trying to get heat because it's what they want him to do, but it's not working. It's just getting heat onto all the faces, which in my opinion is a recipe for disaster, as we saw with Montez Ford. So, turn him face, let him win the briefcase before he turns face, because turning him face while he has the briefcase, a little bit tough. In fact, actually, you don't even have to turn him face, just have him start acting slightly more like a face, because he's getting the reaction of a face at the moment. So there's no hard or big reset that's needed to actually get him as a face. So at the end of the day, I want to know what you guys have to say. Please comment down below what you guys have to say about LA Knight winning the Money in the Bank briefcase. If you think he should win it, put in a big yeah. And if you think he shouldn't win it, put in a dummy. In other words, calling me a dummy, in the words of LA Knight. So let me know what you guys think. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Go check out the links below. We put out an Iron Sheik video the other day. I think it's one of our better, or one of my better videos editing wise. I'm trying to get better, trying to perform or give you guys the best quality out there that I can at the time. So yeah guys, let me know. See you in the next one. Take care. Yeah.